Okay, very. Let's go to the pronunciation. Pronunciation is really, really quick.
Transpiring those words than the simple fact of how frequently we come across. So number 4 is pronunciation. Again, when trying to pronounce the language, we have to engage with the language, with the culture. We're imitating the culture. We have to be willing to let go of whatever our native language is or languages that we speak well, and we have to engage with the new language. For me, having studied Spanish first, to throw myself into, to engage completely with Portuguese pronunciation, because the Spanish pronunciation tends to take over. So it's difficult for me to detach myself. I've also mentioned the example of, say, athletes who play sports in North America very quickly. They're engaged with their teammates. They start speaking with ease, with a relatively good level of pronunciation. Whereas, say, a professor at the university from, some country, foreign country, will be less able to kind of engage with the community that surrounds him or her, and will have more difficulty coming up with a comfortable level of pronunciation. Not always the case, by no means, a bit of a generalization, but I use it to illustrate the importance of engagement in improving our pronunciation. Fifth, when it comes.
Good. So pronunciation is like very small topic, short topic. But what did he say?
Okay, the first, so he said, so it is imitate to learn culture.
Culture. Yes. What is imitate? Nani?
Imitate is 似てる
You gonna copy. 真似するです。imitate.
あ
imitation. これ imitation じゃない？本当のダイヤじゃないよ。imitation.
imitation.
真似する。Okay, you're gonna imitate culture. Okay, in order to imitate the culture, what do you have to do?
Imitate the culture. So, for example, the facial expression, or so. So
Gesture.
Gesture is the same as gesture, maybe.
Yeah. Okay, in order to do so, in order to copy the facial expression, in order to copy the gesture, what do you have to do? Or what did he say? What do you have to do?
I didn't catch it.
Okay, this was the sentence. It is difficult for you to detach yourself. It's exactly he said, detach himself. So you have to detach yourself. What is detach?
Not a touch. Detach is
Oh,
touch.
but it's not a touch. It's not that one. You know, attach. くっつける attach. And くっつけるから okay, your culture is already attached to you. You are like a lot of culture surrounded. We cannot see yourself because like cultures are you covered you and you are inside. So you have to put that culture, that touch from yourself, so that you can expose the real you, right? Then for the first time you can imitate the culture. So if react, like pronounce or copy, do gesture with like what you have, then you cannot imitate the culture. But it is the things very difficult. Detach yourself, detach your culture.
Detach is get rid of, like that. Get rid of, not.
Get rid of it. Yeah, that's right. Yes, 取り除く. Yeah, the Darwin said, empty your cup. So there's a cup and there's a drink in there. If so, you cannot add anymore, right? Because your cup is not empty. So if you want to add something, you have to empty out the cup. But empty out the cup, it's not so difficult. But detach yourself, like you have to forget your culture. Okay, Japanese people is like do like bowing and it puts somebody's name in the end. Okay, that's culture. Oh, you have to forget.
Okay, so if
Yes.
you want to learn another language.
Yes, that's why in the school system, learning language doesn't work well. Why? Because teacher is assigned this mission to teach children to register the social rules. So they cannot detach from social rules because that's their assignment. Right? Like yeah, like a teacher and a student structure that they have to protect. First of all,
Okay.
even if teacher knows how they should behave, but can they be that much and like courageous to like ask a student, no, it's American now, we are in America, so you don't have to say sensei or you don't have to use keigo or can you do that? Like, okay, no, you're gonna call my name, hey, Azumi. Like, can you be comfortable if you are a teacher in the classroom? But that you have to do. That's the point. Okay, so if you want make your students like a really good pronunciation, then you can let them focus on imitate it, like the materials, what you hear, what they hear, recordings or like movies or videos, then for the first time they can get a good outcome, like how
Okay.
well they can pronounce. Okay, so the example what he was talking about, did you catch that? What the example?
What's the example? Mm,
You don't remember? It's okay.
don't remember.
Okay, so he said that example about North American like a football like exchange student story. Okay, so that this guy do not have the language, like a good language yet because just foreign student, right? But he has this like access to the team or teammate, and he has this um close, he has a teammate to have close like communication, and it's easy for him to imitate the culture and just detach his own culture and just copy their like native speakers pronunciation, and in the end outcome is like he is really good at like he can speak really good like pronunciation because of that surroundings. But if you imagine you are like a full-in director of the team, you are a kantoku director and you're gonna direct people, but that's your job, that's your assignment in the foreign country. But how can you imitate the other people's culture? Like you have to detach all yourself, right, to like follow like perform a good pronunciation. But you have to direct people and you have you have to protect your own way, that's your culture, so you cannot detach fully yourself. That's why if you are like a foreign director of the team, like some sport team, probably you cannot improve better pronunciation than like a foreign exchange student. ね、生徒として外国に行ってチームメイトのやってる通り言ってる通りただコピーするだけ真似するだけの方がね、はい、外国のチームでフットボールを教えますって言って、その外国語を勉強するよりももっともっといい結果が得られる。わかった。Okay. じゃあ最後。
わかります。その。
When it comes to importance of engagement in improving our pronunciation. Fifth, when it comes to output speaking, again, if we can engage in meaningful conversations on subjects of interest to us, we're going to learn more from that than the sort of role-playing or eikaiwa in Japan, where students sit around and talk to each other with a limited sort of range of vocabulary on subjects that are not of any great interest to any of them. Similarly, with my tutors online, if I can get involved in meaningful conversations, I find I really benefit from that. Whereas when I have a limited sort of vocabulary level and can only have very limited conversation, I find those lessons less beneficial. In fact, normally I won't do that until I have a level of vocabulary which would enable me to have a meaningful conversation that engages me. In that regard, I had the experience recently of spending 4 days during which I sort of stepped up my level of interaction with my Levantine Arabic. Instead of 1 hour a day, I was 3-4 hours a day listening and reading. And then I had an interaction. I had a lesson with my tutor, Summer, and we didn't go over any grammar or anything. We had a conversation about the Middle East, about World War I, World War II, history, the Ottoman Empire, the Austro-Hungarian Empire, like a whole bunch of stuff I'd never done as well because I was interested in the subject. I had previously engaged with content on a variety of subjects, but I was able to speak with Summer, and I found that the vocabulary that I was able to bring up and recall wasn't limited to vocabulary that I had recently come across. In other words, that increased level of engagement, both with content and then with Summer on subject of interest, all of a sudden caused a bunch of vocabulary to bubble to the surface that I was able to use in our conversation.
Okay, I think time is almost comes, and this part actually to myself, personally, I think he was not convey that much like concisely, but yeah, what I take up is here. So finding a good tutor, someone who spurs on and encourage and stimulate the level of engagement. Yes, it doesn't have to be the teacher, but like parents or the friends or like it might be the romantic partners, whatever. So like yes, like encourage you the like engage the topic. That's important. So like if you try to output means speaking, for example, right, or writing, by the way. But yeah, so when it comes out, but like yeah, of course it is also important engagement. Okay, that's the today's topic. Yes, we did.
Thank you.
あー、難しかったね。
そうです。最後のやつはどういうことですか？ Finding a good tutor。でも、いい先生見つけなさいってことですよね。なんか、でも、英会話とか、なんだったっけ、なんか、なんだろう、ロールプレイとかいろいろしてるけど。
いや、ロール、英会話、日本の英会話についてちょっとディスってたのは、そのロールプレイみたいな、決められた環境の中で決められた語彙だけで喋れって言われても喋れるもんじゃないよ。自分がエンゲージングできるコンテンツの上で自分がその出したいものを全部出そうと思えば、だからそのトピックがどれだけ興味があるか。面白いと思う。面白いと思えばもっと出てくる。実は、こんな単語覚えてたのっていうのが出てくる。どうして？それは今そのトピックがすごく面白いと思ってるから。じゃあどうやったらいい？だから英会話学校に行っちゃダメだよ。どうして？だってそんなトピックに連れて行ってくれないでしょ。だから重要なのはファンディングがグッドチューター。そういう場所に連れて行ってくれる人。あなた何が好きなの？その場所に一緒に行こうって言ってくれる人が好きだよ。大事だよ。と言って。That's why if you want to be a good tutor, you always have to investigate what your students actually really like. So, for example, if I hear like that my students are climber, I'm all every now and then I'm talking about, hey, I watched this climber's documentary. Hey, I heard this place there's a good like rock to climb, something like that. Then they can talk about it together. So that's like a good tutor's job. Alright, that being said, alright, good job. Then let's continue the Genki lesson 4 next week. ありがとうございます。Yukiko-san.
ありがとうございます。